Hi, my name is Mary Wandia and I work for Twaweza East Africa. Welcome to the PDF 2025 event whose theme is Building Democracy for Sustainable Development. At Twaweza, we build democracy through raising citizen voices, and this is through surveys that we do and disseminate the data to the different stakeholders and the public. This is to ensure that the citizen voices are heard and are brought to attention to the different stakeholders.
Karibuni sana tena sana katika this afternoon session ambapo tutakuwa na panel discussion on what motivates citizens to engage in a democracy, and looking at the theme of this year's People Dialogue Festival, where we are looking at building a collaborative democracy for Kenya's sustainable future. It's important for us to talk about citizen engagement and ways in which we can motivate citizens to engage in governance.
Most of the time when we talk about citizen participation, people would assume it's the participation during the voting processes, during the elections. But we at Twaweza, we decided to broaden that up and say, where else do we see government and the citizens interacting more closely? So we decided to pay attention to processes and structures at the local level. So we decided to focus on those spaces and less on elections, so that we can demonstrate exactly how can citizens and their governments come together to make decisions for improving their well-being.
When we talk about citizen engagement, there's the more formal forms of participation, where if it's a bill that is being proposed somewhere, we are having discourse about it, we're going for a public participation forum, we're going for a rally, different forms to engage about on the more formal, more technical parts of governance. But then I think more importantly and more interestingly is what you can call informal forms of participation. So think of the Harambee over the weekend in your constituency, think of your member of parliament showing up to a funeral. All of those are forms of participation, because we use those platforms and those opportunities to have dialogue with our leaders.
If the government really wants citizen engagement to take place, they need to show, first of all, tangible actions, that they are listening to what people say, their concerns and their challenges, but also ensuring a safe space where people can come and say, this is actually the concern I'm having with the country, with the government, and having that conversation with leaders in such a way where I can see action taking place once I've spoken, but I'm also in a safe environment. And that will keep encouraging people, especially young people, to keep coming and to keep raising their concerns.
How does social economic factors influence citizen participation into governance matters? And also the best practices to bridge the gap between individual motivation and citizen participation.
If the government continues to ignore what the citizens care for, what citizens want, if the government continues performing what we call tokenistic participation, pretending that the government is engaging people, but in real sense they have actually made the decisions and they are just going to these participatory processes for rubber stamping, then what I expect will be more of disruptive forms of citizen engagement. And the disruptive ones, I am referring, for instance, to the protests that happened last year. They signify the fact that all the avenues through which people would have expressed themselves have failed.
So I would say I look at technology, maybe let me use the example of social media. So as part of my work is to understand what behavioral things come into play when people are engaging online. So we think about social norms. You know, I see my friend posted about there's going to be a protest, then I am able to go. But social media allows me to see, wait, somebody else is doing it. There's also the aspect of collective action. If you, me, I, and the other person are talking about this, and we have leaders coming up in the social media space, allowing us to know where to meet, when to meet, and all of that. Social media makes it easy for information to reach quickly. X had or Twitter had spaces where you can go. So not only can you engage offline, but you can now go and get your voices heard.
We have just concluded a session here at the People's Dialogue Festival, and the session was on how can we promote democracy? How can we promote more meaningful citizen-government interaction? And this was a session organized jointly by Busara Center for Behavioral Studies, Twaweza, and the Shujaz. And what I find very, very interesting is that we all agree that the level of citizen participation is not what we would have wished to see. And we all agree that this broken trust, broken relationship between the citizens and their government is resulting into unwanted or undesired outcomes. At the same time, what we have agreed from this convening, from this dialogue, is that for citizen participation to become more meaningful, we needed to stop just engaging through the structured and the formal spaces of interactions, but rather we should go to where the people are. If people are online, it does not make sense for the government to announce public participation opportunities through printed in newspapers. We should go there, we should speak their language, and we should listen to them rather than sticking to the dysfunction on the failed formal structures and the spaces of public participation. Thank you.